How was your adult revenge on your childhood bully? There was a popular boy in middle school who was a total douche to awkward, nerdy me. He'd call me names, talk to people within earshot of me about how ugly I was, and would try to physically hurt me during our PE class all the time. We went to the same high school, but I had no classes with him, so I pretty much forgot about him. Well, a couple years after high school I ran into him at a bar. I'm a lot prettier and less awkward than I once was. He hadn't grown more than a couple inches since middle school, and the face that was cute when he was 12 did not handle the testosterone surge of puberty well. He was acting like a nervous teenager and kept saying, "Wow, you really look different." While we chatted a little, he would also not shut up about how he was in the Navy and how awesome he was because he was serving our country and protecting me from terrorists. He finally asked me for my number and I gave it to him. He texted me the next day asking me on a date and I replied LOL. No a-hole here. It wasn't my most shining moment of maturity, but it felt good to look down on that little bastard both literally and figuratively. I never really got revenge, but worked my ass off at uni and ended up working on movies. Got married, had a kid, and have my own house, so that was revenge enough that he didn't dictate my life. I then found out that he was a school counselor for unruly children and thought to myself, he's turned his life around. Good for him. Not really a bully, but my turd scum of an ex-girlfriend. She broke up with me after coming back from a trip and telling me at school the next day she cheated on me with some random dude she met online. We are both 21 plus now, and she's got a 3-year-old kid and still lives with her mother. Last month, I was at a Kroger buying flowers for my current GF. She's ducking amazing by the way, and turd scum is with her non-baby daddy boyfriend. Dude looks at me walking down the aisle with a nice bouquet of flowers and says, "Hey, maybe I should buy you some flowers like that guy is doing for his girl." The look of utter shock and disdain on her face was ducking priceless. Walked by her with the biggest smirk on my face. Best part was I was all fancied up cause I was about to surprise my GF with a date night. So I'm dressed in a polo and slacks, and turd shit's chimney choker has his pants around his thighs and looks like he hadn't bathed in a week. So satisfying. He became a dealer and I became a snitch. The hunter became the hunted. Telling him he missed a spot when drying my car. I was about 10 when this neighborhood asshole tortured me. The final straw was when he took a down power line and whipped me in the back with it while I skated by him rollerblading. He left welts and it hurt for days. About a week later I biked to his house knowing his parents were at work still. So it was just him and his sister home. He had an archery set up in his backyard and I took his bow and arrows. I waited behind a tree until he got outside and shot that little methodica with his own shit right in his chest and then went for his face. While he was doubled over I kicked him and spit on him and told him if he ever came near me again I'd kill him. And I meant it with every fiber of my 10-year-old being. After the day I knew what I was capable of and was never afraid of anyone again. His parents came to my house and talked to my grandpa who knew what was going on and held it down for me. I didn't get in trouble for it. As an adult I obviously handle conflicts differently, but that is my best bully revenge story. Karma eventually got them. One died of brain cancer. A car accident got 4 of them at once a couple years after graduation. 3 died. The other lost his legs. And the teacher who I hated got arrested a couple years later for ducking a student. I wasn't really bullied growing up by the way, but I do have a story. Guy who bullied my cousin and even brainwashed his then girlfriend and turned her against him was paralyzed from the neck down in an accident and will never have use of his body again. My cousin told him right to his face that he got what he deserved. Got taller than him. Got better looking than him. Got in better shape than him. Got overall bigger than him and trained in MMA for 2 years to learn how to fight. Have a hotter wife than him. Make a lot more money than him. Best revenge is doing well for yourself. Suck ad, Jeff. Was bullied from elementary to high school by an increasing amount of students only due to one's opinion. It started small and ended up by me in my grade 10 trying to end it all. Got things resolved, and 3 years out of high school now I'm friends with not all most of them, and majority of them have apologized for being so quick to judge without getting to know me. I don't know what it is, but most people get a bad rep on me for no reason, then when they know more about me over time we become friends. Currently own my own business now as of recently, and sold to cars to people who still hate me for no absolute reason. I made sure to install a hidden toggle switch that will turn the right or left blinker on and off. He recently got a ticket and bitched about it all over FB about how cops are jerks. No harm no foul, just 90 out of his pocket and more in mine when he brings it back to get fixed. Hit a game-winning home run off him to win our little league championship game. It was 20 years ago and still top 3 greatest moments of my life. He became a traffic cop. I work for a very high-end auto OEM. Went home the other week with a very flashy car, and guess who is working the inspection sticker checkpoint? We didn't acknowledge each other, but I know he recognized me. He looked pissed. I was pretty happy about the whole thing. He even had to pull me to the side, because the way we register our cars they don't have inspection stickers. I was never really bullied in high school. However, there was this one prick named Matt that, for some reason, really didn't like me and was always mean to me for no damn reason. He played basketball and acted like a total king because he was pretty good at it. And I guess me being a skateboarder that didn't care about team sports, I wasn't cool enough in his eyes. I was cool with everyone, even most guys on the team. But this ducking guy was always a total asshole to me and other people. On top of that, because he was a good player on the HS team, he never got in trouble. Needless to say, I hated him. After high school, he ends up at the same university as my best friend a couple hours away. He had been kicked off the team for failing a drug test for steroids. As per usual, he was a total miserable asshole, but this time with a bad cocaine and steroid habit and no friends. A couple years ago, I get a call at like 2 AM on a Tuesday night. It's my best friend. He's quite loaded, but somehow sounds very ecstatic and calls me to tell me Matt had been talking shit and being a total asshole to this one guy at the bar and ended up sucker punching him and breaking his nose because the guy wanted nothing to do with him. Turns out the guy he hit had a brother who was a member of the local Hex Angels charter, and from what I heard, this guy didn't duck around. My friend was outside across the street smoking a joint and sees Matt walking out to 7-8 jacked up dudes just waiting for him. He got the living shit beat out him and ended up in the hospital for 3 days. My friend just had to call me then and there. I felt quite giddy and slept quite well that night. Girl I played travel fast pitch softball with used to bully me and another girl for being tomboys and being nerdy. She was a talented pitcher from a hick town who thought she shot gold, but her personality was 100% grade A shit all the way through. Plus she thought she was hot when in reality she was a fish-eyed horse face. She ended up going to a D1 school, acted like she always did, got kicked out, and then went to a new school to start over again. Did this a few times, until she wore her welcome out everywhere. Last time I heard she was living in the same town that thought she was hot shit with a boyfriend, who isn't going anywhere either. Meanwhile I'm a consultant making bank and my other friend is now in vet school. We got our revenge by being better people and kinder souls. Turns out I was a bully. I felt terrible when I found out. Everyone I picked on I had considered a friend. I thought of it as good-natured rubbing and making fun of each other. One guy finally got his revenge when he told me I was the bully in high school and saw the realization come over my face. He forgave me. I still apologize to people as I run into them. They are broke, unwed, and with children paying support. I'm loaded, unwed, and with no children. Dusts hands, walks away. I was only bullied once by one guy, in a one-off occasion. It's okay though, I stuck it to him when I bought Mega Man 5 from him for only 10 in 2002. Now that shit is worth bank. He works in the food court. I work at a Fortune 50 company. Revenge. I pity him She tortured me for years as a teen. Even broke my nose at one point. We moved away when I was 16. I stayed in touch with one friend and her family. The bully ended up marrying my friend's brother. Years later, my friend gets married in Vegas and her whole family is there, including her brother, minus his wife, my bully. Yup, ducked the snot out of my bully's husband. The next day, we did a group photo at the wee chapel of love, and I sat right next to him, leaning towards him, with a giant shit-eating grin on my face. That pic is on display in 3 family homes. I love that she sees it whenever she visits. Plan on doing it someday when I have money. I plan on paying off their debts, just to make them feel horrible for treating me like shit, and saying I won't amount to anything. I got bullied pretty badly in middle school. Mostly the topic of abuse, that I'm a guy that plays the flute. Sometimes other things, but mostly the flute. I'm not really into revenge. It's petty and doesn't really get anything done. However, what I did get to do was hang out with a whole bunch of chicks 5 hours a day for marching band in high school. Revenge no. But I certainly was not gay like the bullies implied. Which honestly, if I were, why would it matter? He's a cop now. So my revenge is basically just watching his marriage fail and seeing his 3 kids grow to hate him. It's pretty good. Age 22ish. I was working as a clerk at the local jobs inter-employment office. I'm in the UK. I got to see 2 of my ex-bullies come through as customers. The first one even had a baby in tow, with no sign of a partner. I didn't say as much as I would. Never did anything about it. Was always polite and respectful. But seeing them avoiding my eyes and pretending they didn't recognize me was about as sweet as can be. My friend's wife suffers epilepsy and seizures. She was bullied by the same group of girls constantly through high school. About a year after finishing school, one of them died in a crash and the media portrayed how lovely she was. My friend's wife got really pissed off at the lies and felt like she deserved every little bit. She confided in her husband and I about this and asked if she was a horrible person. We just told her that only a hypocrite could say she was, as they didn't know her story. Me and 2 friends peed in a balloon and bombed him outside school. He didn't touch us again. Haha. How did this go down? Pee in this. Let's do this thing. Going to college. He lives in the trailer park in town and has been arrested for a robbery last year. I witnessed her husband cheating on her. The revenge bit is that now I look down on her Facebook posts of how happy they are. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.